I want to read a quote. The rage you are feeling comes from the same place inside your heart as the love. This is why you refuse to accept a world where cruelty reigns and the fire consumes all. You have known hope and joy and kindness like you have known water. And justice is a river that demands you do not give up on it. And that is by Nikita Gill. In the words of advice from Heather Cox Richardson, is truly my sanity today. She has reminded us over and over again to not lose our joy, to not lose our passion, and to not lose sight of what makes you happy. And just continue to remember that and to remind the people around you of that. And I hope the new people you met today in the room can inspire each other to do exactly that. Okay, I'm going to lastly say, in honor of International Women's Day, which was yesterday, the campaign theme of 2025 is to accelerate action. A quote I read the other day, action begets action, yours begets mine. Lisa, you have inspired so many people. And I will see you in a few minutes. I'm glad you can hear us a little bit better.
I have a soft voice anyway, so raise your hand if I'm okay, if you can hear me. All right, great. My name is Lisa Stormy, resident of Wake Up Sonoma. Thank all of you for being here today. The size of this turnout is a great indicator of our level of concern, shock, grief, and anger about where we find ourselves in this moment. Nope, this is not normal. It's also a good indicator that we are ready to do, as Michelle Obama would say it with me, do something. Do something. I think that's what we're doing. Fortunately, and not, this is going on in communities around the nation. As I stand here now, I feel that united energy in this room and beyond. And I hope you can too. For myself, I think I've surpassed the shock phase. I feel myself working through the various phases of grief and loss. But I'm no longer paralyzed. I don't know about you guys, but the week after the election, I was pretty paralyzed, and I was pretty angry, and I was pretty sad. But now, as a good friend of mine says, action absorbs anxiety, right? I realize that this is the time to sink into action because we absolutely need a place to put our anxiety and our grief and our anger. But we need it to be a constructive place. We're being peppered and flooded each day with new atrocities and attempts to plunge us further into fascism from the office of Voldemort. Even though they are in real life taking a wrecking ball to our democracy, deep down I know, and I know that all of you know, that our democracy is stronger than that craziness. If I didn't believe that, I would not be here today. This is our democracy in action right now. To that end, we come together today to strengthen from within, organize ourselves, and fight back as hard as we can by creating what I have heard referred to as a dual power system. We will build a power structure in Sonoma that's like a mesh woven cloth as a safety net of strength within our community. Keep protesting, keep getting out there and making those signs and getting out on the streets, but also it's vital that we create community from within. Building structures and systems of mutual aid, solidarity, and autonomous direct action. And we start today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to do today. And this is the framework to begin our direct action. We will invite you to pick a thing. If you see on the wall here, there's one sign that said 8 areas of focus. I think it's on what side?
They're on both sides.
Both sides. Okay. Pick one of those areas of focus that really speak to you and that you gravitate towards, that you feel like in your heart you have something to give to that one area. I know we'd like to do everything, but it's really important right now not to get overwhelmed, not to take on too much. Pick an area and really stick with it. We have an amazing team of people who volunteer to facilitate each of these areas. If you're a facilitator, can you please stand? I put a call to action out, and we have all these people to say, yes, I'll do it. So that is the kind of community that we are in. Thanks also to all the volunteers who came to help us today. If you're a volunteer, can you please stand? And finally, thank you for an incredible group of speakers here. They are going to tell you their names and who they are. But thank you guys all for answering this call to action. That spend your time with us today. Our goal is to come away with a list of people that are ready to take action in each one of these areas, and a leader. Now, we know we can create lists. We're good at making lists. But if there's no leader that takes that list and does something with it, then the list doesn't matter. So please, if you're in one of these groups and you feel like you can do it, step forward to be a leader. What that means is that you will just somehow coalesce the people on that list. You don't have to stick with it and be the leader all the time. I'm asking today that you are a leader in getting the group together, and then we'll see what happens from there. Don't get impatient with this process. I have heard this statement: urgency is a tool of white supremacy. What do we hear coming out of Washington right now? Urgency. And, you know, we can't possibly respond to every single thing that's coming out all at once. That's why we need to spread the love. We will organize, we will be persistent, and it is the only way that we can come together for change. So if you signed up here through the RSVP link, you were emailed a toolkit. And the toolkit is just the beginning of every kind of action you can think of. We have a much larger toolkit coming. And I want to acknowledge Mike Miley over here, who is our brain. If you go to that toolkit, it has links that are live. It has all kinds of things that you can do within your groups. Okay, so there are also some hard copies on the table out in the back of that toolkit. I want to talk about culture. And Suzanne Ford is here from San Francisco Pride. She'll tell us a little bit about what they're doing. But I want to talk about the Pride in Sonoma Valley. Coming to our Pride celebration this year is a way to fight back against the targeted homophobia and transphobia that has become so much more elevated in this administration, putting people's lives actually at risk. In Sonoma, we hope to align with what Suzanne is doing in San Francisco, and her theme is Queer Joy is Resistance. We don't know what her theme is yet, but that's basically the general gist. We want this to be huge, And we hope that every one of you in this room come. It doesn't matter if you're queer. If you're here, I'm going to assume you're an ally. So. They're not going to talk about money because, as the president of Wake Up Sonoma, I have to talk about money. And just know that your donations go towards keeping this work going. This venue cost us over $1,000. And then on top of that is the printing and the website updates, etc. We had to advertise. These people did not make us pay them, which was very nice volunteer donation. Our motto, educate, advocate, activate, is how we inform and educate the community, like we did with the Lefevre Matson debacle, and that just say the truth, put the truth out there, let people decide what they want to decide about the truth. But when you donate money and you allow us to have the resources to inform and educate, then our motto comes alive. So you can donate on a brand new, facelifted website. It's still in action. It's still being facelifted. You can, there are QR codes. Do you guys see the QR codes around the room? Just take your phone and scan the QR code. It'll take you right to our donation site. We take all methods of payment, including donor-advised funds, Venmo, Zelle, or you can even just mail us a check or just leave cash in the box in the back.
Cookies.
Yeah, cookies, yeah. And then the last bit of donation piece I want to talk about is we have some fundraisers coming up. When you come to our fundraiser, you are helping to keep our work alive. So go to the Wake Up Sonoma table and you can see what 3 fundraisers we have coming up. We're also actively seeking board members and advisory council members. Again, go to our website or reach out to me if you're interested. Okay, now you've already met Michelle, but I'm going to reintroduce her. She's the co-founder of G3 Sonoma and runs community building workshops and gatherings within our very community, and she's a skilled facilitator. She will also be presenting questions to the speakers that you all submitted online. I hope you're not disappointed, but we're not going to be doing live Q&A today, because we want as many questions to be answered as possible. And we have Christina, who is one of Sonoma's hidden resources and gems, who facilitates spiritual groups and has supported Wake Up Sonoma with her amazing event planning skills. She will be providing the closing at the end of the speaker program. So now please welcome Michelle.
Thank you. So what I know most of the people in the room are here for is our panel. And what you have been asked is to prepare a 6-minute talk on what you are most concerned about, what you are currently doing about it, and most importantly, what we can do to support you in those efforts. And I would like to start by introducing Assemblymember Connolly. If you would please introduce yourself and answer that within 6-minute question, I'd appreciate it. I know you'll yeah, it's tough.
Okay, so now, excellent. So really wanted to say, still can't hear? Okay, usually I'm pretty loud, so I'm gonna give it a good shot here. I really want, so it sounds good now? Excellent. Cannot say how gratified I am to see you all here today. Can we give it up again one more time? Amazing. So I'm Damon Connolly. I have the privilege of representing you for the 12th Assembly District, which happens to include the 2 best counties in all of the state of California. And what I'm particularly gratified about is I get to go up to Sacramento and you enable me, not only enable, but expect me to stand up for the progressive values that we all believe in. Let me ask you this, are we ready to fight? Yeah. Are we ready to win? Yeah. You better believe it. I'm going to tell you, I am optimistic, but I'm also sobered by the task at hand, and I think that's why you all are here today. And I want to talk about the unique perspective I have as serving as your California state legislature. Because I believe California is really doing two things right now. One is we're continuing to stand up for progressive values that I think we can rightfully say we're leading the whole nation on. And I think that starts right here in the North Bay. And number two, unabashedly, we are leading the resistance against the unconstitutional would-be dictator in the Oval Office right now. I have never seen our caucus so united. I just got back from the Progressive Caucus retreat for the Democratic Party, and I'm an officer in that caucus. We are going to continue to stand up for climate. We are going to push back against utilities who are gouging us on our utility rates. We're going to fight the insurance companies that are gouging us on wildfire insurance. We're going to continue our pathway toward health care for all, a single-payer health care system. We're going to keep working people at the center of our agenda every day. We're going to push for civil rights, and we are going to make sure that corporations are paying their fair share in taxes. Now, I raise all those issues because they actually tie into the second point I'm going to make as well. We all have a little bit of limited time, and the Q&A we're looking forward to. But the main thing we're doing now, and this is day in and day out, is we are calling on Congress, we're calling on our courts, we're calling on everyone together, because it's going to take all of us standing. This is why I'm optimistic. Ultimately, we're going to stand together. We're going to cooperate with each other and get the task at hand done. We're going to work with Congress. We're going to take our case to the courts relentlessly. In our democracy, that's what we're talking about when we have an out-of-control executive. The other two branches of government, with we the people, must stand up. So let's talk about how the resistance looks here in California. Again, part of it is just being who we are, continuing to lead. Part of it also is standing up for those rights. So you may have heard we had a special session this year. We passed two things. One was a $25 million supplemental fund so that our Attorney General, Rob Bonta, can take the Trump administration to court as many times as it takes. And let's note, the Attorney General has already sued over the blatant unconstitutional executive orders to eliminate birthright citizenship and freeze federal Congress. On Wednesday, March 6th, as about one example, the AG was able to block a $3 trillion proposed freeze in critical funding from Trump related to housing, healthcare, public safety, higher education, childcare, and food by the Trump administration. They can no longer go forward with that freeze. The AG also brought their 6th lawsuit, and I think there's going to be a lot more. I think the $25 million is just a down payment. To block the attempt by Trump to terminate critical teacher training grants that help address our teacher shortage crisis in California and nationally. So we will continue to work in partnership with the AGs. Some of these cases are so blatant. Birthright citizenship is stated in the Constitution itself. We know that if Congress passes a law with funding, Trump is not a king. He cannot unilaterally go against the desires of Congress. Am I right? In the legislature, I also helped pass a bill to immediately allocate $25 million to support organizations and programs that help with legal services for our undocumented immigrant community. We must continue to support our immigrant community against the threats they face from ICE. In fact, what we're doing is going further than we have before. You're familiar with Senate Bill 54, where our law enforcement cannot cooperate with ICE. We're actually closing loopholes in that to make it stronger here in California, to send a clear message. We stand together with our undocumented immigrant community. The two issues we hear most about are the threats to immigrants within our communities and our trans community and the broader LGBTQ community that is such an integral part of where we live and what we believe. Let me be clear. We are going to stand toe-to-toe in this fight with both of those communities. We are not going to back down, and we need your help to get it done. Are you with me? There's a lot of specifics I can provide. Hopefully all of you get my newsletter. If not, see me after. We just introduced all our bills for this session. Many of them deal with these issues, including immigrant kids in schools, protection of other rights, and I would love to talk to you more about that. We may even cover it a little bit in the Q&A. So with that, thank you for being such a partner in this effort. We know that civic engagement works. It has throughout our history in the United States, and that's why I'm optimistic. It's going to be our collective voice getting this done together. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much. And with no further ado, we have Tom. Thank you for being here, Tom.
Hi, Tom Benthin. I'm with Indivisible Sonoma County that kind of spans the entire county. Indivisible was formed in 2017 in response to the first Trump election. Our motto at that time was resisting the Trump agenda. What I would call these days fighting fascism. And by fighting fascism, I'll be as loud as I can.
Take off your mask. Take your mask off. Take your mask off.
Sorry, I'll try to be as loud as I can with it on. We were founded to fight to resist the Trump agenda, but I call these days fighting fascism. And for me, fascism, unfortunately, is synonymous with the Republican Party. The focus of Indivisible from its beginning was to put pressure and support on our Congress professional representatives in Washington. We still do that. We still work on elections, but I believe in this moment that that's no longer enough. So we need more than that. We're not seeing, unfortunately, the kind of fight and strength that Damon was just showing us consistently in Washington from the folks on our side. They're not a fully opposition party. We need them to be that, and we'll continue that pressure. But in the meantime, we kind of have to take the lead to it. It's up to us. We're facing a hostile takeover of our country. It's happening right now. It's a government by the bullies for the billionaires. And we've got to respond. And I think we can do that together in a number of ways. And the fact that you're here shows me that that's something that you want to do. So I think the first thing that all of us can do is to make this visible. There are two things that are really necessary. One is to confront, and the other is to oppose. And you confront by making it visible that you're resisting, by showing other people, by showing up, by wearing things that say you're fighting fascism, by being in demonstrations, by making it, showing, not telling, that we're in severe danger and that you're acting up, and you're acting. And that does two things. One is, when there's danger, sometimes people look around to see is it really as bad as it is. You can confirm that danger for them. The second thing is by showing that you're fighting, you show them that they're not alone. Those two actions are really critical. It may sound like it's more important to all your representatives in Congress. This is actually more important. We need to spread the word. We need people to become engaged, and we need to grow this group out further. And then the second thing you can do is, that's really the most important. Because really, the reason that we lost the last election was people stayed home. And the people who stayed home didn't understand how the nature of the danger that we were in. They're not going to get that from their television. They're going to get it from you and from me. They're going to get it from seeing it around them and believing in it, because they can see it. There's a plume of smoke in the hills, and you look at it and you think, what's going on? Is there a fire? And you look around and everybody else with the positives, like everything's normal and how you're taking it. You think, well, maybe it's a controlled burn. It's up to us to say no, but it's not a controlled burn. This is a fire, we need all hands. That's our job. The second thing you can do is what you're about to do, which is to get engaged locally, to kind of take care of your turf, of our town, and make sure that this is completely proof from fascism, and then spread it out from there. Now, Lisa also asked me to talk a little bit about bridging the partisan divide, and I think it depends on why you want to do that. If you want to bridge it to, be closer to a family member who is estranged, then great, then do that. But if your purpose is to repel fascism, I would say you're not really understanding fascism if you're trying to bridge it. Because fascism doesn't, and fascists, they don't want to unite with you. They want to be either their own subjugated or worse. People have tried to compromise with fascism. Historically, there are big examples of that failing. I would say a better way is to set your boundaries and say these are the behaviors that I won't tolerate. These are the ones that I will not go along with. FDR famously said of the folks who were the billionaires of his day, said, I welcome their hatred. I welcome their hatred. And that wasn't because he welcomed hatred. It was because he knew what their hatred meant. That he was standing in between them and the people that they wished to harm. That's what he was doing. So I'd say, set your boundaries, say what behaviors you want to say. And then if you want to unify with somebody, look to the ones that the fascists are going after. Look to the ones that are most vulnerable. Unify with them, find community with them. Go out. Thanks. And come join us at Indivisible.
We'll share more information, as will Pat, so provide us with.
Thank you for asking me. Can you hear me? Okay. And I will tell you why you can't hear me. I am a 37-year retired classroom teacher. In my current incarnation here, I am the chairperson of the Sonoma County Democratic Party. Thank you very much for having me here. First question was, what concerns me most? Answer, E. All of the above. You know, I don't know how you pick and choose what concerns you most. Oh my goodness. You know, the thing that we really have to worry about is if we did not witness voter suppression in this last election, we don't know what voter suppression is. So every state that was lost because there was voter suppression, okay? So let's move on to the next one. What are you currently doing, you Democrats who are not having your voices heard? What is the party doing? Okay, people, let me tell you this right now, loudly and clearly. We could actually turn on April 1st the House of Representatives. To people in Sonoma County to call Florida. We have 5 people. Okay? Because people don't like to phone bank. Well, guess what? How many of you like what's going on? So it can't happen. You go to sonomadems.org and you can sign up to do some phone banking for it. To be very frank with you, over the holidays, we closed basically down for about a month. People talking about going through grief, et cetera, et cetera. I allowed myself one day because I got so damn many phone calls and literally had to talk people off the cliff. So when we talk about these things, they are available. Seek them out. And I will tell you the next thing that we are doing. And I've been talking to some of the speakers up here in regards to this. We had a collective strategic meeting with our political organizing committee and myself as the chair. I said, look, what is the main thing that we have been hearing from everyone who is reaching out to us? It's what actions are going on. It is obvious there is a breakdown of communication within this county that can help you be a part of action. So we have reached out to groups that align with the Democratic Party and have supported Democrats, and what we are going to work towards is a communication repository that would make it easily accessible for any of you to click into. Somehow we're going to do this. I have no damn clue because I don't get any of that. But I got the ideas, okay? And that's important. Then I get people that can do it to follow through. But that common repository where you could find an action that might be happening throughout the county. But importantly with this is that what we're asking our allies to do is to notify so that we can get that communication in. I don't have to agree with everything that somebody stands for, but I have a common cause. And I will follow that common cause. And I will do everything within my power as representing the Democratic Party to make sure that people who wish to do something, to stand up for the rights of any individual who is being held down, whose very existence is being threatened, we will do what we can. And then finally, I was asked, what can you do here? Do I have an offer for you? We have decided on April 15th, we all know what that is, click it in your mind, April 15th. Oh yeah, my favorite day. And it's not because it's the day after my birthday. Tax day. So what we are going to be doing is holding an action on tax injustice in this country. We have 4 bills South Sonoma County. Well, Sonoma, you fit beautifully into this. So we would ask a caravan of volunteers from Sonoma to start here in Sonoma, and you would have an action at your post office with information that we will be providing. You don't even have to come up with the information. We got the bullet points, we got the talking points, everything. We'll even help you with signs. Moving towards Santa Rosa, and this would be happening from West County, from South County, from North County. Everybody encroaching upon Santa Rosa main post office for a larger rally. And we have to collaborate and work together with that. And I was trying to figure out what that acronym, WRAP, means, but I get it. Okay, so I'll be taking, I guess, questions that come here and working with that. I do want to just close with something that James Baldwin, I would paraphrase him because I don't have it memorized, that James Baldwin said. He said, you know, he goes, we can disagree. I don't have to love you. We can work together. Right? But when you dishonor me, when you threaten my very existence, I will fight you.
Yes. I think we all want to be when we grow up. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. All right. Can you hear me?
Put your speaker on. Put your speaker right here. Right like that.
Right here. Yeah. All right, that's good, because I usually have a very loud voice. You can ask my husband here. Anyway, so first of all, I want to thank Wake Up Sonoma. This is amazing to have all of these here. There was going to be over 300, I think, 350 people here. So please give yourself a round of applause. This is what we need now. We need community, we need coming together, we need strategies for what we're going to do to address the issues. Very much like Pat, I feel the same way. I feel like when you're coming up to give an Oscar, speech, and they're asking you to thank people, how can you thank everybody? I cannot mention all of the things that I am concerned about. So I am sure that I will leave something out. But one of the things, and for me, I believe in the intersection of all of these issues. So for me, when I talk about these things, it's not a priority order. It's not one over the other. They all matter, and they all matter a lot. And for me, one of the things I often talk about is the narrative. The current narrative in the country is not a narrative that we are having input to. The narrative is a negative narrative, it's a hateful narrative, it's not a narrative that brings people up, it's a narrative that tears people down. And it's important for us to be thinking about how are we talking about the people? How are we elevating, especially those communities today that are being targeted? For our trans communities, for our immigrant communities, for our LGBTQIA plus communities, for women, for the disabled community. Of the values that they bring to our community. I'm very, very concerned because the narrative when we're talking about immigration, the pictures that they put forward are not the people that we know here in Sonoma that are our immigrants. Their stories. So one of the things I will do, and I'm asking everybody to do, is look for a story that you care about, a story that tells about someone in the community that you know is being targeted. Tell those stories. Tell the facts. There's a fact, for example, that for every 13 immigrants that are deported from this country 10 U.S. Americans lose jobs. Those are the type of facts that people are not aware of, that we need to be talking about. Tell the true stories, not the stories of the narrative. We really need to, amongst the narrative too, is just, I'm very concerned about that our institutions, our government workers are being villainized. Our institutions are being villainized. So support your institutions. For people that are familiar with Tim Snyder and his book on tyranny, that's one of the things. Support the institutions. We can't let our institutions fall away. So I'm going to try not to go too far down this road because I didn't introduce myself. I'm the mayor of Sonoma. Just go right into things and forget about the niceties. So I wanted to make sure you know that. But as the mayor of Sonoma City Council, there's a limited amount of what I can do in that role. I mean, I can play a role in the city, but I can work with the city for setting an example for how we change the narrative by creating the community here that we want to live in, the community that we want for people that care about equity, for people who care about climate, for people that care about diversity. How do we actually make Sonoma the image for the rest of the world? And the image Sonoma County leads, Sonoma, Northern California leads, all of California leads. We lead in that way. So I won't get into my concern about the global democracy because we're not going to go there today. But I'm very concerned about the dismantling of DEI. And I'm concerned about that because within our community, we do face issues of racism. We do face issues of homophobia. There's less here, but we still face those issues. And the tools that you get from diversity, equity, and inclusion, the tools of learning to be an ally, those are the tools that we need to rise up and continue to use. For me, that's one of the things around these issues when we look at what's happening in some areas of our community today, is I've been able to reflect upon how important it is to be an ally. It takes work, it's hard to do, you have to practice and practice and practice every single day, and be willing to say things and stand up for people when you don't feel comfortable doing it. We're not in a period where we can, it's not comfortable being in this period right now, so I figure like being a little more uncomfortable is not going to hurt any of us, so we have to stand up. Then, of course, climate change. I consider climate change, it certainly is, it is one, we all face it together. I believe in some ways the trauma of climate change, whether you believe that it is real or not, or whether it's man-made or not, exists in every single person on the globe. And we're experiencing a lot of the trauma that people are experiencing from that. Oh my goodness, yes, there we go, wrap it up. 6 minutes goes down. So immigration, climate. Okay, so I will go on to what I'm going to be doing. I have been meeting with community members, especially of at-risk communities, and working, David Ewan, our city manager, and I are meeting with individuals and organizations so that we can define what they want the city to do. Because it's important for us to be the voice of those communities and to follow their direction. I came from the Solidarity movement, so I really believe in that. How are we acting in solidarity? And then the other thing I'm doing myself, and I ask all of you to do, support local nonprofits. Not just in the work that they're doing in this emergency, but the ongoing programming that they're doing. There's great programming going in this county, and we can't get distracted. We have to do that support and do more support for this emergency that we're in. Support local business owners. Support boycotts, boycott yourself. I just sold my Tesla last week. say now, which is electric. Go to local demonstrations. So that's what, there's so much we need to do. Work on being an ally, work on being an ally, work on being an ally. I'll say that over and over again. So Wake Up Sonoma, I think one of the things that you are doing, changing the narrative, get voices heard, we're doing that, telling the stories of real people, and developing strategies. We're all looking for the strategy right now. I know I am. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sonoma is in good hands. Let's keep it that way. I am going to introduce someone that I met for the first time on Tuesday, and so honored to have had her participate in an event we put together, and the fact that she's back here in Sonoma, you sort of like it here, right? Okay, this is Suzanne, and thank you for being here.
Hi, everybody. You can hear me. My name is Suzanne Ford. My pronouns are she, her. And I am the first transgender executive director of the most iconic queer organization in the world, San Francisco Pride. I also have been your neighbor. I raised my son, my wife and I raised my son in Ibarra. He is at Cal Poly now. I live in the city now. And many, many years ago, I used to sell packaging in the winery business, so I could almost every winery in Sonoma County. And I was here on Tuesday speaking to the G3 event, and it was quite an honor to be in that space, and it's really an honor to be with you here today. As both an executive director of San Francisco Pride and as a leader in the trans community. We have to do two things this year at San Francisco Pride because our theme is queer joy is resistance. And what does that mean? We are going to resist at San Francisco Pride. At the front of the parade will be the resistance contingent. Now this is the first contingent that walks behind the Dykes on Bikes. It was created in 2017 as an answer to the first administration of the Orange Women. And I held the banner that year. I was not a member of San Francisco Pride. It was the first time I had really participated. And it changed my life to walk down the street in San Francisco on Market Street as a trans woman holding a sign with over 1 million people in the audience. 1 million people like you all. So this year, the resistance contingent will be the largest in our history. The Sonoma church ladies are here. The Sonoma church ladies are in the resistance contingent every year. See them, you can come march with us. I invite you all to please come to San Francisco Pride this year. Now, I know totally that some of you, that's a bit too far. So I would invite you, there are some people here in Sonoma County that you know that are your neighbors, LGBTQ folks, that probably need some help to get to San Francisco that day. Maybe you can help with a hotel room so they can come for the weekend. But you can contribute to people in Sonoma County to come with us and to feel like they are in community. Because that's the second thing we have to do. Queer joy is resistance. Our joy in this room is much different than if we were on the other side. Our joy comes from building relationships with people and seeing people's lives improve. Their joy comes from breaking relationships and taking things away from people. And that's what separates us. And we just have to tell that story as much as we can to as many people as we can, and we will eventually get out of this. As a trans person, I can't tell you what it feels like. Every morning I wake up, I grab my phone to see if I have any immediate text messages, and then I hit the news because I need to know. Because that day television stations will call me for my comments. I will be asked all day long by different people about how we feel. And I want you to know that the trans people have already overcome so many obstacles before we got to this moment in history. Can you imagine what it meant to come out in groups like this and be noticeably different and to say who you are? That's what trans people do. That's what we've done over the last 10 years. That's why you know us now. We were always here, but you didn't know us. Like when I drove around to the wineries, no one knew I was trans. I was scared to death that you would find out about what I really am. And I'm not scared anymore. The other side frames issues in a very simplistic way. And the way they frame them make you think, oh, maybe trans people have gone too far. Maybe they're asking for too much. It's in the framing, folks. I want you to know, like, I was at a press conference a few weeks ago in San Francisco, and I met a mother from Bennett County and her 10-year-old trans daughter. Now, they were making sure that the film crews would not film her because no one knew that she was trans. Now, I want you to think about her for a second. The next time they say no trans people in sports, I want you to picture this 10-year-old trans girl. She had enough courage to go to her parents and say, I'm a little girl. They took her to psychologists. She had to withstand questions about her identity as a little person. Then, determined, she went to elementary school and no one knows that she's trans. So I'm telling you, every morning that 10-year-old girl gets up with the fear that they will find out that I'm different. So the next time that you hear somebody say, well, you know, the trans things in sports, I don't think, no, you think about that 10-year-old little girl, and I want you to tell me if you would say, oh, she can't play soccer with her 10-year-old friends. You wouldn't say that. And I will say about the Democratic Party, the governor of this state, I was on TV answering this the other day. I'm telling you, trans people will remember which Democrats stayed with us and which didn't. And we are going to be here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to stand in our power. And we invite you to support us.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. You might ask yourself, why am I here from San Francisco Pride? I want to tell you, when I was a little kid in Kentucky, I grew up in Owensboro, Kentucky, and once a year, they would show the San Francisco Pride parade on national TV, and they wouldn't show it to you so you would be like, oh, that's really impressive. They would show it to you so you would be freaked out. This was the 1970s. I'm thinking, oh my God, those freaks out there. Well, I'm here to tell you, there are a bunch of children that see that parade go down Market Street on TV, and they know that if they can get to Northern California, they can find their people. You are our people. Thank you.
I used the word inspired earlier, and thank you so much.
Yes.
You inspired. I am now going to introduce Marty. Please join us.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Hi, my name is Marty Bennett. I'm with the Hotel Workers Union, United States. Fairmont, Michigan, 275 workers that joined our union. I'm also with the North Bay Working Families Party. Today I want to talk to you about the Working Families Party, as well as the attack on the labor movement that the party is closely aligned with. The Working Families Party is a third party, well established in 11 states, including California, and we just formed a chapter in Marin and Sonoma. Our vision is to create a political home for the California multiracial working and middle class, and a voice for those seeking to counter big money and corporate domination of American politics. Our main objective is to challenge corporate Democrats and elect progressive Democrats to take back the House in 2026. We also appoint progressive Democrats moving from lower to higher office, including all state offices in Congress. For president in 2024, we supported Kamala Harris. And in 2020, we supported Bernie Sanders in the primary. Locally, Senator was the city council person, Carolyn Benuelos, and Assemblymember Chris Rogers are examples of progressive Democrats we endorsed and helped to elect in 24. Social movements and not the wealthy and wealthy donors. We intentionally seek to build coalitions between labor, social justice, environmental, and climate movements. Our common agenda is to speak to the immediate needs of all working people, like raising the minimum wage, taxing the rich and corporations, single-payer health care, protecting the right to organize a union, and a just transition to a clean energy economy. Our object is to continue in the 1930s to provide economic security for all Americans, including guaranteed government employment in public works and environmental restoration, Social Security, minimum wage, rural electrification, the right to organize, regulation of corporations and banks. And like the 1930s, we sought to build a broad united front against fascism. In the blue state legislature and mass action in the streets. We are a third party that provides support for candidates like training, small donor funding, and canvassers. However, we engage in ongoing campaigns that address the needs of working people in between the election cycles, such as protection for immigrants and our rapid response network, workers seeking to organize, and federal workers under attack, like the postal workers are right now. Family leave, implementation of universal health care in California. Regardless of the outcome of any specific election, we intend to develop enduring coalitions through these campaigns. WP intends to address the central problem in American politics for Democrats and progressives. Vice President Harris received 6.2 million less votes than Joe Biden did in 2020. Moreover, 36% of all eligible voters did not vote in 2024. And these were mainly youth and working class voters. We must win back these voters. Voters do not most of either party represent their interests. Both parties are responsible for half a century of stagnant and declining wages for working people, NAFTA and the export of 1 million good manufacturing jobs, failure to pass comprehensive labor law reform by the Clinton, Obama, and Biden administrations to protect the right to organize, the bailout of the banks but not homeowners and renters during the 2007-2008 and the vast expansion of low-wage employment, particularly part-time temporary employment. Today, that includes more than 1 in 4 workers. We must have a reckoning with these issues. We seek to build a third party and a revitalized Democratic Party that can elect candidates who enact policies that will reverse these trends. Rebuilding the labor movement is essential. An unprecedented assault on the American labor movement. 200,000 mainly probationary federal employees have been laid off. Federal employees have been demonized and called, quote, a parasitic class by co-president Elon Musk. The closest historical precedent is Ronald Reagan's firing of 11,000 strike fighting air traffic controllers in 1981. But it goes a long way beyond that, in that Trump busts are attempting to void legally binding collective bargaining agreements, and most recently the air traffic controllers, and engage in blatant violations of civil service protocols. Labor believes these attacks on federal workers will ripple out to affect private sector unions as they did after Reagan fired air traffic controllers. The ultimate aim of Trump bust is to overturn federal labor law codified in the 1930s with the passage of the National Labor Relations Act and the Fair Labor Standards Act, and to eliminate federal labor regulatory agencies like the NLRB, OSHA, and the EEOC. It is only through aggressive legal and nonviolent action can we stop this unprecedented assault on federal unions that will directly affect airline safety, the post office, veterans health care, food quality, public health, federal aid to higher education, and much, much more. The North Bay Labor Council will be sponsoring an action in Santa Rosa to defend public sector workers and all federal workers. And then on March 23rd, there will be an action in downtown Santa Rosa to stand up for our postal workers. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Marty. Jose, you're up. Last but not least, and then we'll move on to our questions. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And can you hear me? Yes. First of all, I'd like to thank Wake Up Sonoma for believing in us. And also, thank you so much for putting me in front of these individuals that are just amazing. We are volunteers, and we basically have one item that we have been doing, and we are teaching Know Your Rights to all immigrants in our community. And while we are reaching to all individuals, most people, Americans that speak English, think that it's only for them that they should be learning this. And we would like to empower you to say, please, you can do the same. And the reason that you can do the same is we've created videos on YouTube, audio clips of Know Your Rights that are located on our website called apoyantes.com. And in this way, you can also share such information with other people. And we need your help to do that. One of the other things that is very important about Know Your Rights, while one of the things I tell individuals, because I normally deal with undocumented individuals, they don't believe they have any rights. And what I tell them is, you don't understand, just by the pure fact that your body is in the United States of America, you have constitutional rights. These constitutional rights are very brief, but very important. And would you believe it, they're in this little credit card, red card. And you might have read about them in the New York Times, you might have read in the Post, wherever you have read about it, and there are plenty of them back there. I recommend you please take not just one, take 5, take 20, and when you go to the restaurant, you know what? Give it to the server. But give them this to the server so that you know they have rights. Yes. It's extremely important. And we need your help, just like I tell the undocumented community, we need their help to share the Know Your Rights. And thanks to Sonoma, Wake Up Sonoma, and other organizations that are present, we continue to give out presentations out there in churches, in parking lots, in labor locations. It doesn't matter. We're happy to go there as long as we provide the education that they have constitutional rights. All obviously drive like all of us, tell this number, which is part of the fast response area, tell them if you see immigration vehicles. It is important to share that information with them because it keeps our community safer and keeps them away from the immigration. We are not, like I said, we are teaching. We had another element that I wanted to share. I hope I'm not taking too much time. We had a radio presentation about know your rights, and one of the people that called in, they said, what are you teaching people to avoid the immigration? No, we are teaching them constitutional rights. They're yours and they're ours also. So again, thank you so much, and we need your help.
Thank you very much. And now the good stuff. Lots and lots of questions came in from all of you, and we are going to do our best to touch on as many of them as possible given the time frame that we have. And I'm going to start by asking Marty a question. Feel free to come up to the podium to answer your question, and please do your best to do it in a timely manner so we can get to as many questions as possible and respect the time frame that we're given here. Marty, the question came in, do you have a vision for how unions could be a bigger part of the architecture for our society? If so, how would we build fastest momentum?
Thank you. I think the most important point to make in relationship to that question. The most important point to make in relationship to that question is that we have to organize the unorganized, and particularly low-wage workers in the service sector, as my union just did at the Fairmont Sonoma Michigan. And it's important to note that the Democratic Party at its most robust in the 1960s was supported by a strong and unified labor movement that represented 30% of the workforce. Today, that has fallen to just under 9%. And it's critical. Starbucks workers, hotel workers, workers all across the service sector want to join a union. The challenge is labor law is broken. And those rights exist on paper, but they really do not exist in practice. And so unions must have community support, just like we did at the Fairmont, when hundreds of you turned out the demonstrations, when hundreds, if not thousands of you signed petitions to management to protect workers' rights. Going after Amazon, going after big companies, global companies, ultimately is going to mean corporate campaigns and boycotts against companies like Amazon and Starbucks. We need to support that. In turn, unions are incorporating into their contract bargaining and public demands issues that directly affect community members. Lower staff-patient ratios in healthcare, lower class size in education, full staffing for air traffic control, taxpayer personal data by Elon Musk and his Dodge henchman. Support our organizing campaigns. We need the community. Thank you.
Oh, right on, thank you, perfect, we have the mic action now. So why don't we go to Suzanne? What is the transgender community doing to organize around the threats of erasure? Is the community feeling like it is safe to gather?
No, we are not feeling safe, so we are going to gather. The biggest gathering in San Francisco for the trans community is Friday of Pride Week at Trans Lawrence Park. And actually, Lisa's son, Nico, back there, a Sonoma native, produces the Trans March. So I invite you on Friday to come to San Francisco. I have a meeting on Wednesday with Governor Newsom's staff with some other trans people. So we are meeting, leaders are trying to step out. Like being here today is an intentional thing for me. I want to be in front as many cisgender people I can so that you can put a face to what's going on. But it is very, very dangerous. My wife and son are very, very concerned for me. So please know that when you see trans people, when you see us out in the public, know that we are accepting a certain amount of risk, and you are the people that can bring that risk down.
If you could be kind enough to pass over thank you very much. The question is, what can we do to fight Elon Musk's takeover of our government systems? How can we stop that?
Great question. So kind of what struck me is just how much all of our work intersects, as each of the amazing speakers was presenting. I was like, oh yeah, that's a way we're kind of working together now. So there's a few different things. I mean, one is, going to Pat's point, we absolutely have to take back the House.
Yes.
There's no question about it. I'm actually looking at 2026, but good reminder that could happen in April right now. So let's get this. Let's phone bank, let's write postcards, let's press it hard on that. I talked about the budget in California, how we can use it strategically to fight back against these terrible unconstitutional cuts that we're undergoing right now. It's cutting to the bone. We're talking about wildfire prevention and whatnot. So we're going to continue to win in court on that. We're going to keep putting forward legislation. Jose, we will work together. I have a bill now that is the Know Your Education Rights for immigrant students and families in schools, where it will close down. So we're going to do that. And this may come up in a later question, but just wanted to flag it now. We also have to fend for ourselves. Thank you, voters, for passing Proposition 4. The climate bond, $10 billion. We are going to be doing that to good work. And I'll give you a little heads up now. It's not quite yet public. I'm going to be taking on the Water's Edge multinational corporation tax loophole that exists in California right now. It's $3 to $4 billion a year that these out-of-state corporations are getting at the expense of California businesses and taxpayers. It's got to stop, and that'll be more money that we can keep supporting.
Patricia, question for you. How is the city council fighting back against the racism now being openly expressed within the school system, including at our current school board meetings?
So I'm actually very, very grateful for this question. And I will say, you know, in City Hall, we have zero tolerance for hate speech, and both in City Hall and City Council, we had hate speech at our Zoom meetings, and we immediately shut them down. But I will say, you know, we are a separate elected body from the Sonoma Valley Unified School District. So I have not had the opportunity to really research what's going on in the schools. I have attended a school district meeting, Sonoma Valley Unified School District meeting, and I went there because it was when they were going to review their safe school resolution. So I was there for that meeting. I would say what this really brings up to me is, once again, how are we, and it gets back to the DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. How are we making sure that our institutions are including work so people really know how to be an ally, know how to identify hate speech, understand what it means to be a person that is on the other side of that, telling those stories, and how do we have more person-to-person, because the studies show that what really resolves issues of hate speech and biases and racism is by people being in those communities. So how are we, and for one of the things, how are we bringing more people on city council, on our commissions that are LGBTQ, that are Latino, that are African American? So how do we include them in our leadership? How are we making sure that they are being included in the leadership of the school district? So unfortunately, it's not something as someone from City Hall I can really solve for the Unified School District, but I will do my best to have conversations with the people that I know that are affected by that, and people that are in quandary over what to do, about how to really work to hear other people's truth. Because I think a lot of the times that's what happens. People don't listen, they don't hear what people's truth is, and how do you receive that and try to put yourself in the side of that person? How are you really understanding? I mean, certainly Suzanne told us an amazing story. Then you feel that. You feel that empathy. You know what people are going through. Talk to someone and say, how would you feel? I know I have to wrap up. I can go on and on. And this topic of like how I've worked on it, but how do you, when someone talks about racism and doesn't understand it or feels like the pie is getting smaller for them because of supporting people of color, how do you say to them and help them understand? How would you feel if your child was followed in a store because of the color of their skin? Bring it, have those conversations with them in a way where you're telling stories, where you're listening to them, and you're not reacting, but you're educating. And that's what's really going to help move it forward.
Yeah. As a parent of 2 alumni in the school district, I would love to think of a zero tolerance when it comes to board members having any type of racist values, but a girl can dream, right? I am now going to ask Pat, why don't Democrats use the media to do a better job of spreading the truth? It feels like the Democrats are not speaking out loudly enough to protest.
Democrats are using the media. The media is choosing not to show. It's as simple as that. How many of you are aware of demonstrations going on across this country and the numbers in which they are rising? The mainstream media is not showing that. So let's start. I think the biggest concern we better start having is who is buying the media at this point. It is those oligarchs, you guys. So let's make that a part of what we know we have to put an end to. So why aren't Democrats using the media? I could ask our elected assembly person here, would you not love to have more of what we are saying out there on the local news? Absolutely. So let's start putting efforts there. You know, it's kind of like asking us, why aren't we stopping Trump? We're doing our damnedest here, folks, but we have to work together and do it. And it is not going to happen by just saying, well, you guys aren't doing enough. We need to work as you or I would like it to, but movements take time. Don't quit, don't give up, make sure your voice is heard, and as I look around this room, let's be honest here, folks, we're all pretty damn privileged. So when you get that opportunity, those of us, the majority of us sitting and standing in this room, have platforms in which we can speak up, and we have to take advantage of that. No longer can we afford to blend into the background. Step up, speak out.
I just want to point out that there are at least 3 media organizations in the room today.
I'm going to go to Tom now. What would be your first priority for us to consider at a grassroots level to make our voices heard and take effective action? If I have the time and energy for only one action, what can I do that will have the most impact as quickly as possible?
Sure. Well, a few things, actually. I know it's supposed to be one, but it's going to be one depending on who you are. The first thing I want to say, though, is the Harvard professor Eric Connolly did some research about overthrowing authoritarian regimes about that. And one of the things that she found was that with peaceful, nonviolent protests, and this was only the peaceful, nonviolent protests, which was about 2 times more effective than violent protests because it drew more people in. Once you get about 3.5% of the population engaged in sustained protests, no movement that was able to hit that number has ever failed in this study. I understand this is about 350 people in this room today, and you may be aware that the city of Sonoma has about 10,000 residents. So there's a number of people in this room is that 3.5%. Really there. But the thing is to sustain it. The thing is to find the thing that matters to you, the thing that you're passionate about, that you can commit some time to, that you'll be relentless about, and where you can place your defiance and your joy. It's not just about what you're opposing. It's the things, it's one guy that I follow, and like a lot says, we should not do the things that the fascists want us to do. And we should do the things that they don't want us to do. So it's combining those. With the thing that you're passionate about, commit to it, sustain it, find some friends so you're not alone, or find an organization so you're not alone, and push on. The poet Diane Primo said, no one thing or no one way is going to do this. It's going to take all of us shoving at the thing from all angles to topple it. And so I think it's find your own way, and then we'll take it from there.
You did a wonderful job in your introduction to this, but we would love you to elaborate. What is the best way every person can support our community?
The first thing I wanted to know is we have a table that we're not going to have a lot of people in the back in case it needs to have the name of the website or our information so that we can contact us. And I understand that not all of us speak Spanish, so we have this part that doesn't make sense to you, but that's right back there. Another item, we actually have 4 volunteers in our organization, myself being one of them. Sarita Wilder, who actually sells walls in Santa Rosa, is also an amazing volunteer. And also Mr. Jim Wilder, who is also a grower of many things that I would never be able to do. But he came up with an idea that I wanted to share with you. And the idea that he came up with, because he has so many thousands of seeds at his location, he felt that if we could grow sunflowers that would be our representative of our support to the community, I felt it was an amazing, amazing idea. And again, we have flyers back there so you can understand it better and realize where we're going with this. And we're hoping, he already has the seats, he's happy to give them to you, et cetera, et cetera. But the most important part is, as far as know your rights, share it with your landscaper, your maid. As one of the ladies here has mentioned, we are privileged, so many of us have maids, have babysitters, things of that nature, and let them know that these videos are there. You don't need to speak Spanish. It's already done for you. So they listen to the videos in Spanish. And of course, to those people that don't understand what constitutional rights are, it's already in English. So it's very simple, 15 minutes of your time, even when you're cooking cookies or baking a pie or oven, cooking something in the oven, you can listen to it in the background so you can see how easy and important it is to know this information. The last thing I wanted to say is, feel free, you're the ones that are actually contacting us to be able to go to presentations. I'm letting you know, feel free to do that so that we can do a presentation for whoever you feel is important to you.
Thank you. So now the time in the breakout sessions that Lisa's going to explain to you, I'm going to close, and I just want to say a few things. First is, we all know someone younger than us, and younger than us. We all know people younger than us. I need to see more 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds. So my invitation to myself and my invitation to you in meeting here today is to start sparking up those conversations with the younger folks in our world, in our families, in our communities, et cetera, please. That's what I'm definitely dedicated to. Secondly, my daughter has a tapestry on her college wall and it says, "Give a damn." And I just want to thank all of you for giving a damn. And I really, truly want to let all of you know that the legacy you're creating and what you're doing and how you're doing it is creating a ripple effect that changes people's lives, and it makes a difference. A new major at colleges is leadership, and leadership 101 right here, and 201, and 301, and 1501, and I am just really proud to rub elbows with you all, and so grateful for what you're doing and how you're doing it. And lastly, to you, Lisa, it's because of you that all this is being put together. Keep up with your work, and thank you for being here.
Really, Wake Up Sonoma is nothing without all of you. I just wanted to remind you about the donations. We're all volunteers, but also I have so much gratitude for the people in this room. I really, really hope that you do. I see people are sort of thinning out, but I really hope that people do go around to the areas and start the action now. Christina Weil is, as I said, a spiritual leader. She's going to ground us to go out. And one last thing, I'm going to ask the speakers I'm going to ask you to write a rebuttal or write the answers out to the questions you didn't get to answer, and we'll put them up on our website.
Thank you, Lisa. One thing Lisa did not mention is she is an unpaid worker. Lisa doesn't work a 40-hour week. Lisa works about a 100-hour week, and it's all for this community. So, thank you. Tirelessly dedicated to protecting and strengthening our community. Once again, thank you to Michelle from G3, and your invaluable support and wisdom is appreciated. Thank you to the volunteers, to the tables out in the lobby, and especially to this panel, as Michelle mentioned. Your insights are so appreciated, but they're also just invaluable to us building together. You've heard that the challenges are devastating. They're deeply harmful, and they are threatening. And they're threatening to unravel everything in our path. So while we feel this profound sense of fear, leaving uncertainty and anxiety in the way, what are we going to do? You heard a lot of ideas here today. You heard about unity and know your rights and optimism and queer joy and shop local and support local. These groups around the room, the idea is to just go, sign your name up to one thing. Just commit to be part of the conversation. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. We understand that. And so we aren't asking you to try and fix everything. We aren't trying to fix everything. But if every single one of you commits to doing one thing, and then you invite a colleague, a friend, a family member to join you, this is how we multiply our impact. And based on the number of people in this room, we can have some powerful results if we just do that. So who here can do one thing? Raise your hand if you can do one thing. Yay. Okay, now go find a friend. Sometimes it's when everything falls apart that we find our true strength. And it's in these moments when we realize we have absolutely no choice but to rise up, no more waiting, no more doubt. This is how we fight for change. This is our moment. This is our moment to take bold action. My wise friend, Tanya Locke, often challenges us to reflect on this question. I see a world where ... Think about how you fill in that blank with your vision of hope. Imagine the kind of world we can create, because we are recreating our world. So imagine what you want that to be. Imagine what you want our community to be. And the one thing that I would say for me is, let's get creative, let's get innovative, let's think of new ideas. We say we're not going back, but at some point there's some things we are never going to go back to. There's some things we are not going to see again, so we might have to recreate. And we welcome all of your ideas and the innovation that will allow us to move forward with new ideas and with solidarity. Also, we're powerful when we lift each other up, so let's make sure that when we move forward, we're creating a future that includes and represents everyone. I stand with Sonoma, and I stand what's right for all people, and before you choose your one thing by heading to these stations, I'd just like to leave you with a thought by Cheryl Strayed. You will learn a lot about yourself if you stretch in the direction of goodness, of bigness, of kindness, of forgiveness, of emotional bravery. Be a warrior for love, and I would add justice. So thank you for your attention. Stay vigilant, stay hopeful, and please linger around a little while and show us your participation.